storytelling is such a powerful medium for business. I mean, you look at it's kind of all around us, from the Steve Jobs classic keynotes that he gave to just all of these little elements that I kind of like inherently knew it because the business side came much later for me. Was not a natural thing.
Actually, very exhausting for one
Yeah.
person to do.
And look, I'm a big proponent of taking it on a gradient, and I compare it always to going to the gym. It is much more important to do 3 posts, go to the gym 3 times a week. Think about posting as going to the gym, 3 posts a week for 2 years. If anybody did that, right, and, ate relatively healthy, they would transform their body. Can we agree on that, right, John?
Well, coming from a personal trainer's perspective, yes, I can agree with that.
Exactly, 100%. So if somebody
recording now. Today, we are talking with Jake Isham, a filmmaker turned based strategist and creative director who helps founders and entrepreneurs turn their expertise into authority through powerful storytelling. Jake didn't come up through the traditional marketing. He came from filmmaking, where attention isn't just captured, it's engineered. And now he applies the same lens to business, helping founders stop creating random content and start building intentional authority platforms that shape perception before a single conversation ever happens. Because today, your reputation isn't built in the room, it's built online before you ever walk into anyone. And if your expertise isn't visible, it doesn't scale. Jake focuses on what he calls authority infrastructure, systems that turn your content into something that builds trust, credibility, and opportunity 24/7. Today, we're breaking down how storytelling, positioning, and strategy come together to turn content into something far more powerful than just views. Jake, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, what was the moment when you realized storytelling wasn't just creative, it was a strategic advantage in business?
I don't think there was a single moment for myself, but I think it was informed by a multitude of different things that have occurred over kind of growing up and figuring it out. Because again, like I came from narrative film and television, and while in film school and looking at filmmakers I admire and stuff like that, a lot of the filmmakers that I love came from commercials and advertising in the marketing space. They were the creative directors in a lot of the ads that we love, and that's where they kind of cut their teeth. That's where they learned. That's where they practiced. They got to experiment and develop styles before making the movies that we love. They made iconic commercials. So I think inherently I kind of understood that, if storytelling is such a powerful medium for business. I mean, you look at it's kind of all around us, from the Steve Jobs classic keynotes that he gave to just all of these little elements that I kind of like inherently knew it because the business side came much later for me. Was not a natural thing for me.
When you look at most creators and podcasters today, what are they doing that's actually hurting their authority, even if they're posting consistently?
Well, the first is the posting consistently. Most people, are not posting actually consistently. And then it's not one thing that's kind of a blanket that I see for people. It's kind of lots of little things that add up, right? And it could be as simple as like they just don't know how to package it correctly, where like they don't have the right thumbnails. They don't have the right whatchamacallit. Oh my God, I'm blanking. I have not had enough coffee this morning. Hello, good morning. We're going to make this casual chat again.
Let's do it.
That, they could not have the right thumbnails or the right titles. The hook is not strong enough. The editing style, the intention, the speed at which you're talking. Like, these are these little 1% markers. Consistency is the main key. Like, to me, is 90% of it, is if you're just consistent, because then those last 10% where it's okay, great. 0.5, because you're like, oh, I can talk fast like Mr. Beast, and I can talk like this, and I can know my cadence of how to speak online. But if you're doing that inconsistently, or like, that's just like a small percentage on top of a lot of small percentages. And so, but the consistency is so important, because it'll allow you to track your analytics and actually go into, ooh, this went viral, or this got a lot of views, or this got a lot of conversions. Well, let's look at the statistics. What did I talk about? Let's look at the retention graph. Let's look at, where did people click off? Where were people? Oh, there's a dip in there's a increase in the middle of the video. What was I going into there? How did I bridge that? So that's where you can dissect it, but that comes from having just done a lot of quantity.
So something like having like a scheduled date, saying like every Saturday I post out my evergreen content, and every Tuesday I push out my my long form videos, and have like a steady flow of shorts that follow and point back to my content. Something like that is what you're trying to say, but that is actually very exhausting for one person to do.
And look, I'm a big proponent of taking it on a gradient, and I compare it always to going to the gym. It is much more important to do 3 posts, go to the gym 3 times a week. Think about posting as going to the gym, 3 posts a week for 2 years. If anybody did that, right, and, ate relatively healthy, they would transform their body. Can we agree on that, right, John?
Well, coming from a personal trainer's perspective, yes, I can agree with that.
Exactly, 100%. So if somebody literally just posted consistently for 3 years, 3 times a week, they grow a brand, because it would compound. But as you do it, you start the great difference in content versus going to the gym is no one can do the gym for you. You cannot outsource a single thing. Sure, you can outsource maybe your meals and like getting a personal chef, but like there's no ROI in content, in going to the gym. You can't outsource it, and it doesn't make you money per se. Great thing is with content is it might be a year, it might be 2 years, might be 3 years, might be 5 years, but eventually you can build out a team that can take certain functions off your plate. Additionally, you do more content, you should be getting more clients in. I talk to a lot of B2B business owners, right? But even on, if you want to become an influencer, by doing more content, you will eventually have brands and whatnot coming to you and affiliates that like it will make you money, which then you take a percentage of that money, pay someone to do some of the editing, some of the posting. And so, which then allows you to go, great, let's say I spend 20 hours a week on content, between the ideation, the shooting, the editing, the posting. It's half your week. It's just content. You start doing that after a year, you're like, oh, I'm now making X amount of money. I can now hire someone to do the posting. That's 5 hours a week for me. Great. Now you're down to 15 hours. Ooh, now I can get someone to edit it. That's another 10 hours of your week gone. So now you're down to 5 hours of your week of just ideation and posting. I mean, I just saw this behind the scenes video of Mr. Beast, who literally works 15-hour days, and he has a team. He has literally hired someone who works 9 to 6, 40 hours a week as a stand-in for his thumbnails. Meaning he has his photographer and this Jimmy double stand in and and like they test it out. Okay, great. Let's look at the photo. Let's see how it looks. So that Jimmy, Mr. Beast can come in, do the pose. Like, great, we're just redoing. This is the exact face and pose I need you to do. Great, thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy walks out and goes to the next meeting, or goes to the next film and goes to the next thing. That's how much of a team and infrastructure he has. And that's the great thing compared to going to the gym. Content should be eventually making you money. It's marketing. And so as you grow, you delegate all of the things that you're spending any time on. And sure, you personally might not be taking any extra money home, but your time is freed up to allow you to continue to grow the top line of your business.
It's interesting that you're using Mr. Beast because a lot of people are like on YouTube, especially when they're getting into YouTube, they're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to start posting. I'm going to create a channel on YouTube, and I'm going to get Mr. Beast numbers." And people don't realize that Mr. Beast has been at this for like over close to 20 years now. He's not a spring chicken when it comes to posting online.
And go look at his first videos. Go look at his first decade of videos. They're so lowbrow, like they're so low production. It's him literally, like one of his early viral videos, counting to 100,000 on camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Literally just 12 hours of him counting to 100,000, saying Logan Paul 100,000 times on a webcam. Nothing interesting, nothing unique, just a crazy idea that people went, hold on, wait, what? And clicked on it, got millions of views. Can I saw a plastic table with a plastic knife? How long, took him 18 hours to do that.
Yeah, it's yeah, I know. It's they do some of the weirdest stuff, and it's like a lot of creators online now, they're focusing on delivering a lot of value, tips, tactics, and information, and it feels like it's just not enough. Like it's not enough to capture the person's attention. Whereas, like you just said with Jake Paul and like Mr. Beast, we're counting to 100,000. You're getting, or if they can saw a plastic table with a plastic knife, they're getting millions and a million downloads. Like, okay, where am I missing this?
The thing is this, for a business owner, you don't, and this is the biggest thing that I constantly deal with when I talk with business owners, is that they're like, we need to do like Mr. Beast. I'm like, you're not an entertainer. You're a business owner. I talk to, so many business owners, and a lot of them, because they're, the guys I work with are not large enterprise businesses. They're, smaller SMBs. And I go, you couldn't handle 10 new clients going, great, let's sign up, let's do it. Most small medium businesses could not hire 10 new calls coming right now, 10 new inquiries happening right now, ready to sign this week. Most small businesses couldn't handle that. So if you think about this, if you had a video that had 1,000 views and a 1% conversion rate, that's 10 calls. That's 10 new inquiries. So you don't need 1 million views. What you need is the right views. What you need is talk to your niche, your audience. So you have to break this mindset of this, I need 1 million views. Okay. I can tell you this. I've generated over 1 billion views for my clients. I personally have generated tens of millions of views for myself. The tens of millions of views myself, you want to know how much business that pulled for me? 0.
Really?
Because it was videos about my dog. They were not on topic. They were not about my business. They were just being entertaining. And then I was like, this was in the middle of the pandemic when I was just like, oh, let's try out this TikTok thing like every other millennial. And I went, I'm zero interested in being a dad dog influencer. That's not the journey and the lifestyle that I want to have and the business that I want to build. And so, I just really, my point in saying that is like, all right, even if you have one viral video in your business, then you're going to go, I need to chase viral videos. Well, it's like, sure, but how is that viral video helping grow your business? And that's where like being on topic, speaking to your niche, understanding the problems and pain points of your audience, speaking to them. It's all of these nuances in the what you're saying, how you're saying it, who you're saying it to, that business owners need to have in the patience to let it build.
Well, that's the reason why I ask is because there's this misconception in podcasting and content creation, especially when you're trying to run a business on the back end of that, is I need to be in front of everybody. I need to get out to as many people and as many platforms as possible. Coming from a podcaster that has done a podcast before, which failed for 3 years, and I made zero income for 3 years. It's exhausting, and I burnt myself out so many times. And what I'm trying to do here is try to really hyper focus on one person instead of just trying to reach everybody. I don't care about reaching everybody. I'd rather have 100 engaged subscribers on YouTube rather than 100,000 subscribers who do nothing for me.
Yep. And that right there is the right mindset. It's also understanding what do you want from certain things. So for example, I have a client who's a painter who we do her socials, and this is a belief I had to break in her. And it took a while. And we use her social not for conversions. She sells paintings for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? People are not going to be scrolling on Instagram and be like, oh my God, I love that painting. I want to buy it. That's not what it's used for. So it's not a conversions tool. So you have to understand where different marketing actions and different, specifically even content is like when we do content shoots with her, we go, okay, where are we using this? How are we deploying this? Where is this going? What's the goal of this content? So we use her Instagram and her social for just brand awareness. So when she's at an art show, somebody goes, oh, let me look her up. Oh, 25,000 followers on Instagram. Oh, she's legit. Oh, look at her. Oh, look at the rest of her art. Oh, look at this behind the scenes videos. That's cool. It validates that she's legit when they're about to purchase a $30,000 painting of hers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what it's for. It's not for, oh, I like this painting. I'm gonna just go on a whim and buy $30,000. People don't buy art just online.
Yeah, no.
Not
especially not
right.
at $30,000. No.
Yeah, but you might be following, and also it's like, oh, you find the artist, you follow her, then you go, oh, she's at the Aspen Art Fair, the LA Art Fair, the Miami this, the Venice that, and they go, oh, well, I'm in that city at that time. Let me go see her booth. Let me go see her art in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's where then it convert. Like that's where it's again brand awareness, staying top of mind. So it's understanding that compared to another company I work with, right? We make ads specifically that need to convert, that go, great, this is your pain point, jump on a call with us. Like, that's the point of the ad, right? There's also, like, I've worked with 511, the clothing company. We'll make ads that do both things. Stuff that's just social, that's like, hey, the goal of this video is to get 1 million views. This needs to just go viral and get a lot of views and get a lot of attention. And so we bring a wider audience into the ecosystem of 511. Then this is for the 511 nerds who are already fans, to get them, show them this is our new product so that they go, ooh, I want to look at that. Then other ones are like, hey, we're having a sale this weekend, buy now.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 very different types of content. We have a sale right now. That's not going to reach 1 million views. It's not going to go viral. And the goal is not to go viral. The goal is to like get the people who are big fans to purchase now.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new people who've never heard of the brand will not take advantage of that.
Right.
Or is a very small percentage that would.
Right. How important is storytelling within those 3? Because it sounds like you're trying to create like this funnel, and you're trying to lead people from becoming these you're just random person to, I think the best analogy is super fans. How important would be storytelling to convert people from I've never seen this person in my entire life, and I'm going to drop $50,000 just to travel to Australia just to hear him or her speak.
I think so. This word storytelling is bantered about in the marketing space and on social media so much, and I think there's just multiple layers of this word storytelling, and it's many definitions of it. So you have storytelling, like it's very important, and that's the short of the answer. The short of it is it's incredibly important. And I think the thing is, the reason why I kind of, got a little defensive was because I think people misunderstand it and they just use this as a broad term. And I'd like to clarify it a little bit, or at least the way I view it, because you have storytelling within certain multiple aspects of it, and each aspect needs its own version of storytelling, for lack of a better way of thought process on it. You need the story of the brand as a whole, right? The brand, the entrepreneur, and I say the brand, that could be, a personal brand. It could be the company brand. It could be the mascot. It could be, what is the overall messaging that we're going with, right? So for example, an obvious is looking at like cars, right? Tesla has a very different story than Ford. Ford has a very different story as a brand than Toyota versus, Lamborghini and Ferrari. But even like between Lamborghini and Ferrari, those brands have a different narrative they're pushing overall to compare each other with each other, right? So there's an element of larger brand storytelling. Then from within that, you have the storytelling of each piece of content. Great. What is the narrative we're pushing? And this is where in the funnel is it going? So how does this message of this video go in there? Then within that, you have how does this piece of content itself, the structure of it. So there's kind of 3 layers of storytelling that need to go into each piece of content that I look at.
Cool. Is this part of this authority infrastructure that you have?
Yeah, I mean a lot of it is again what we started talking about, which is just getting somebody to post consistently, and then instinctively by posting consistently, you're going to stay on brand. And just on brand means you've decided the narrative you're pushing, and you just stay consistent in that narrative. That's the simple one. People are like, "Oh, are you on brand?" That term is being thrown around a lot. It simply means like, who are you talking to? What are you talking to them about? And just being consistent about that.
Cool. Some of the people that are listening to this actually do have small shows, and I feel this strain on this next question myself currently.
Okay.
So, and I know people who are listening are also feeling this strain as well. Like they are consistent, they're showing up, they're posting on a regular basis. Nothing really happens. The downloads, the subscriptions, the calls to actions are not being worked on. What are we missing?
So it's a little too general for me to like, I need to dive deeper into to know exactly what's missing. Like, I would look at podcasting is a hard space to get into because you have to understand what is the purpose of your podcast. That's the first and foremost. I look at it as 2 different strategies overall, right? Are you trying to be a Joe Rogan, a Caller Daddy? Are you trying to be an entertainment podcast? Are you trying to use this to help grow your business? Because those are 2 very different strategies. And that's the first thing I talk to specifically when I talk, because I work in the podcast space. And that's the first kind of thing somebody needs to understand. It's like, how is this going to make you money, right? Because it all comes down to brass tacks. So, I mean, I can do this with you, or I can speak in the general if you want.
You know what? It might be a good example to use me, but if you
Or,
can just like
we can use a hypothetical
let's
friend.
use a hypothetical. Let's use a
Right.
hypothetical.
Is there okay? So this hypothetical friend, John, do they want to be because they're two different strategies, or like the listeners that you have that you said, there's a handful of your listeners that have small shows that are trying to figure it out. Are they more wanting to be an entertainment podcast, the Joe Rogan Call Her Daddies, or a business podcast? Because let me explain the top level difference between the two.
Okay.
These businesses, the Kelsey Brothers show, the Joe Rogan's, the Call Her Daddies, the Diary of a CEO, the Modern Wisdoms, we know all of these shows, right? They make money through advertising. That is how they make money. They are the same way that the Ellen Show, the Oprah Show, David Letterman, any talk show on network television makes money is through advertisers. So their goal is to get more views. That is their only metric that they actually care about, is retention and views. So they get that purely by, why are people going to tune in to those shows? Why does somebody tune into Letterman versus Leno, Kimmel versus Fallon? It's because they like the host. They like the gimmicks that the host does. They like the questions the host asks, and they like the guests. Why do you turn into Fallon on one night versus Kimmel? Well, they have Tom Cruise versus Will Smith. Mm-hmm. They have, Sydney Sweeney versus Glenn Powell. I want to see Sydney Sweeney. I don't want to see Glenn Powell. I don't know, But that's why it's like, why are you going to turn into Joe Rogan or Diary of a CEO? Is because they're interviewing this person. I know for me, I tune in because I like that guest. Or people were like, I really like Joe Rogan. I don't really like Stephen Bartlett.
Right.
But they live and die by just views. So you need to if you're going to do an entertainment podcast and you're going to make money via advertisers, that's how you're going to monetize, or affiliates, you need to get guests that have lots of attention, because that's how you're going to drive traffic in. You get enough really, really good guests that have their own brands. People are going, and you're going to have to understand how to curate guests. It's all about guest curation. What is the story these guests, by having blah, 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 blah lined up, that's the brand that you built.
Right.
So that's if you're going to do that, it's all about guest curation. They're both guest curation, but there are very different viewpoints on guest curation. So by getting more views, you make more money because you'll make it by advertisers, etc. Because you can say, I get 100,000 views. That's very different. That's a certain level of paycheck versus I get 1 million views. It's a very different paycheck.
Right.
On this side, you have a business podcast, which that in my opinion, you should only have 3 types of guests there. So this side, it doesn't matter how many views you get, in my opinion. It really doesn't matter, because again, we talked about, can your business take 10 new clients? Like, if you're looking to just grow your business and actually grow your business, if you had 10 new clients, could you actually handle 10 new clients right now? So don't worry about, I need 1 million views. I need the right views. So we're going to ignore those metrics, views and followers. We're going to look at, you should be interviewing prospects, referral partners, or industry leaders. Because this is brand building and networking as a business podcast. You're going to be very strategic about who you put on your podcast, because you want to build relationships with them. As we know, it takes 7 to 12 points of contact to build a relationship in a sale.
Yep.
So you have let's say it's a prospect. You have the multiple touch points before, the amount of emails we had, our pre-call we had, then you're on the podcast. You have an hour and a half, half an hour, an hour and a half with this person to build the relationship on the podcast. Then you have after the follow-up emails. Hey, here's these assets. Hey, let me tag you in them. Oh, hey. And then you can continue to trickle out, gives you more points of contact. And then you go, hey, let's work together. How can we work together? Like, I was on a podcast. So that's a lot of the reasons I go on podcasts, is to build relationships. A gentleman, I was on his podcast. Then I went on one of his internal coaching calls, like for his, he has a coaching program. I then spoke at one of his events, and now I'm going to become a partner in his business. But that just came through relationship building, but also going, hey, I'd love to help you out some more. How can we work together a bit more? I push the relationship forward. And so building, that's where it's like, okay, great. Every call, but if you know you have a high LTV in terms of your customers, you can go, great, I can afford to build the relationship with this individual because I know how much money it'll grow my business eventually. So that's where it's like the two different strategies.
I think that's an important distinction that you made between entertainment podcasts and business podcasts, because a lot of people that are watching this show, that are following me, are looking to quit their 9 to 5 and replace it with something like a business. So they have something to replace their 9 to 5, their income stream, with something that they can do and love and gives them joy in their life. But they don't realize they're trading their 9 to 5 for the 5 to 9, which I realized with the Fitness Oracle. And it does
you're trading a 9 to 5 for 24/7. That's the honesty of it. So I'm going to tell you. Sorry to have cut you off.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I have a crazy story about this, because there's a friend of mine who did this, and who was probably one of the ultimate success stories of trading your 9 to 5 and working a 5 to 9 and growing something insane. I mean, it's still like, I get emotional even just telling his story. It's not even my story, it's his story, and I get emotional. So he was working a job he didn't particularly love, and he was about to find out that he had his first child on the way. He and his wife, he was like, I want babies later. And his wife was like, no. His wife's a couple years older than him, and was like, we're having kids, and we're going to have multiple kids, so we need to start now. He's like, no. And she even went to his mother, her mother-in-law, and went, convince your son we need to start having babies. So eventually they got pregnant, and he's like, okay, he's making, I think he was making $100,000 a year. But again, she wasn't working. That was covering the two of them. So it sounds like a lot of money, but like, if we live in Los Angeles, that doesn't go that far.
Same in Toronto, doesn't go far. 100 grand
exactly.
doesn't go
you
far.
Live in a major city, like $100,000 between two people, with then now a baby coming on the way, not that far.
Yeah.
So this was about a little bit over a decade ago, and this was when the Amazon craze of like, start your own Amazon business was getting really big. And he said, okay, I'm gonna buy the $5,000 course to learn how to do my Amazon business. Bought a $5,000 Amazon course, and then just started studying at nights. Launched his first product, spent more money, just started swiping the credit card, investing in himself. He did this it was like, okay, if I can make an extra $1,000, maybe $2,000 a month, just to for this, so I can maybe put a little bit more for this child, and so I can put this child in like a private school, not just a public school. Like 8 years later, the company is doing $80 million and is in the top 75 businesses on Amazon.
That's amazing.
He now has a team of like 60 people, and I think he's going to break like 100 million this year or something like that. Like, literally all he was hoping was that it would make him extra $1,000. But what it did was he allowed it to take its time. And so but he kept his job for 2 years and worked on this until this company was making, so realize the profit margins in this are much smaller. Like there's a lot of overhead in physical products. And so but once the profit was consistently making more money than his full-time business for like 3+ months, that's when he quit his job. Like, he kept his job the entire time.
I think that's a very important point that you made,
And that's why I wanted to bring it up.
because a lot of people, and actually a friend of mine, who has he walked away from a 23,000 subscriber YouTube account that was doing fantastic, moved from Japan where it was and came back to Toronto. He made a post about this. A lot of content creators, a lot of them, they start to see downloads come in, the sponsor emails them and they're like, I'm a success. And all of a sudden, boom, they leave their job and they have no more money. That is a huge point that you just made. And I wanted to really, really, really stress this for everybody that's watching this. You need to be making a consistent income that's surpassing your income currently before you step away. And I'm not saying a year. A year is good. Keep your job for a year after you start making your money, but just hold those reins. I know, believe me, I know I'm one of them that's just like, I want to quit my job right now.
You want to know another crazy story that I literally actually just heard last night about this? The same thesis. So Eva Longoria, right? The actress, Eva Longoria, came out to LA and she was like, I don't want to be a starving artist. I don't want to be a struggling actor. She was going on auditions, but she got a job as a headhunter. Then she was saying in this interview, she booked Days of Our Lives, and she would, on set, like in her trailer, be working her job. Like doing headhunting, looking at resumes, making phone calls, negotiating 401ks. And then they were like, oh, we need you on set, Eva. And she'd be like, okay, I gotta go, bye. Hang up, go on set. She did this for 2 years. Because she said she was getting paid $900 a week on Days of Her Life. She's like, I can't live off $900 a week in LA. So she kept her job for 2 years until she got like a big bump in pay or something like that, she said. And then she's like, okay, she quit her job. But now she's a fantastic investor and business lady. She now owns 30 businesses or something like that. And that's the thing. Most of these, a buddy of mine who's a very successful entrepreneur, who's a Fortune 5000 business operator, gives this example all the time when he does seminars, which is the car mechanic sees the boss and goes, screw you, I can do this. I'm the best car mechanic here. Why don't I open up my own shop? Leaves, opens up his own shop, only to realize the boss handled HR, taxes, bookkeeping, sales, marketing, owning the shop, the physical location, handling that, handling the other employees, handling the bit, went, holy crap, there's a lot of other skills that I don't know. And it takes time to learn those. As somebody who never had a 9-to-5, because I'm very fortunate, when my parents are artists and have made a living being artists, they were like, go figure it out. Go be an artist. You want to direct films? You want to make movies? Go do that. And I went, okay, how do I make money doing this? And so that's what got me into marketing. There's just keep a camera in my hand. But I've had to learn business. I spent 10 years learning the craft of filmmaking, but then I've had to spend the next 10 years learning marketing, learning sales, learning HR, learning accounting, just learning business management, all of these other functions that it takes to run a business while also operating the business.
See, and that's the big thing that a lot of people don't see outside of, this cool podcast is up on YouTube and I want to follow. It's like, you don't really see all the other stuff that goes on in the background. And it's a lot.
It's across the boards, every industry. I see this all the time in the arts, because that's, again, the space I come from is, I want to be an actor. I want to be a musician. I want to be on stage. I want to be performing. I want to be in movies. It's like, do you actually know what it takes to be an actor? You being on set or you being a musician and being on stage is like 3% of your job.
Yeah.
97% of the job is promotion, sales, marketing, running your business, accounting. It is the other departments. Even as simple as being an actor is learning your lines. You're not performing. You're sitting there drilling your lines. My wife's an actress. I grew up acting. Like you spend more time just figuring out your lines and practicing. Like that's the job. You being on set, very small percentage.
Yeah. It's even like podcasting, doing this interview is 1%, 2%. I'll give it 2%. Nobody sees the editing that goes in the background. Nobody sees, oh, what kind of music am I going to put into the intro? Oh, what 3 clips am I going to pull out from this episode to lure people, to stick them to listen to all this amazing information that Jake is actually sharing with us? Nobody sees any of that. All they see is like, oh, it's got a cool logo. Nobody knows that this
the
logo,
amount of iterations of logos.
Yeah, this
logo
logo
versus this logo, for this versus logo versus this logo, the hours spending just on the logo. Like
just to give a backstory, this logo, this simple little logo, took me 2.5 months to figure out.
And how many probably 12, 15 iterations.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's like, and this is what I'm trying to tell and share with people. It's like, yes, this job, podcasting, content creation, can give you freedom, but it's going to take you, like you said, you took 10 years to master your craft, and then you took another 10 years to learn the business part. You were a 20-year overnight success.
And I still wouldn't call myself a success. Like I still have so much to grow. So much. And look, like it takes a lot of work to be successful at anything. It takes a tremendous amount of work. I've been very fortunate to work with a good deal of very high earners and high accolade individuals. Very, very successful people. I've been very, 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 very fortunate. And they work all the time. They don't stop. And they understand the work it takes. And you have to be willing to just put the time and energy in. Like it's the only way you can do it to be successful at it. And yeah.
I've been on your website and I saw that you actually work with Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I've tried doing his 10X, and I'll tell you one thing, that thing burnt the crap out of me. How do you help manage the burnout? How do you identify your burnout, and what do you do to get out of it?
So I'm going to speak on something first on just that concept of 10X. It's a mindset. It's understanding first and foremost, because I am a fan of the concept because it changes the way you think. And I know for the people, like it can also, it's satirized a lot in our society. I'll just 10X it. But like, if you really look at because I agree with it. And because if you do 3 posts a week versus 30 posts a week, how much will you grow? Like how much faster would your audience build?
Yeah. You have the potential of 10 times more.
Yeah. And how like if you go because I explain it this way, right? If you knew as a business owner, right now, if you did 200 posts, you'd get 1 client.
Yep.
How fast would you get through those 200 posts? You get them all out in 2 weeks. Because then, great, I get a client. If I told you your 200th post, somebody's going to go, John, let's work together. Or here's $10,000. You'd get through those 200 posts as fast as possible. But we don't know what that 200 posts is for us when we first start out. It could be 100. It could be 1,000 posts before we get that first client. We don't know the number. But I can tell you this, that number, as you do more posts, goes down. So then you have a guy like Grant who can do one post and gets 10 clients for each post. Gets 10 inquiries, gets 30 inquiries, 40 inquiries, right? So that number goes down over time, but you just don't know your starting number.
Right.
And so that's where quantity starts. And so the burnout happens is, in my opinion, where you started at a little too high. And you need to start at a number that you can consistently do.
Okay.
This is my view. Everybody has their own view and different hacks, and that's different view. And so there's two things: is start at a number that's where you can go, if I just did this for the next year, great. And it could be probably like, oh, I could do more. Fine. Start at a number that you like 100% can do. And then just focus on that. Focus on the longer, like, I'm going to do 100 episodes of this podcast. And I'm just going to go for 100 episodes of the podcast. So that's the first thing. Second thing is track your analytics and know what analytics matter for you in what you're doing. And go, great, how can I improve 1%? 1% improvement on those analytics. Because then you're not just posting to post. Then you're like, I don't know what's working. I'm not going to do this anymore. In my opinion, people get burnt out because they don't know what they're going after. So the third, which is a combination of the second one, which is the bigger picture. You get burnt out because you lose sight of the bigger picture. So great, know what your bigger goal is. Okay, great. I want to make $1 million a year. Okay, so I need to make $87,000 a month. Great. I don't know. That's the math. But if that's the goal, I want to make $100,000 a year. Great. I need to make $8,700 a month. Good. Let's keep that on track. Okay, great. I'm at $3,000 a month. Great. I'm at $4,000 a month. Great. How do I get up to $4,200 a month? How can I get an extra $200? How can I get, having that bigger picture going, okay, great. Let's keep going. We're not at the goal yet. And then knowing the analytics. And I have a bit of a nihilistic view on it all where it's like, so what? Like, it's all just a game. This is all arbitrary things. Because I look at like, it all doesn't matter, but it's all whatever you choose it to matter. Like, one of my core concepts at my company and just in my life is have fun. We can choose to make it fun, or we can choose to make it serious. So and it's something I remind my wife and my family, and then they remind me of. Like, whenever we get too serious, we go, this is fun. Like, I'll give you a really simple, silly example. My brother just got married last weekend, and my sister-in-law, his now wife, was getting a little stressed. Like, the two of them, oh, we got to set this up. We got to do it. I'm like, guys, this is your wedding. This is fun. They went, yeah, okay. This is fun. We're getting married. This is good. This is not serious. This is fun.
Yeah.
And it's just having that support team to like go, So then I guess the fourth is that support team. Whether it's a spouse, a friend, find at least one person that can remind you of these, like the bigger picture of to have fun, to like, hey, what's one thing we can improve? And then just be willing to experience the journey. I don't know if that helps. I know it sounds all like a bunch of fugazi mindset bullshit, but it's the little things in that it's annoying, because I know definitely on the come up, all these entrepreneurs like, it's 80% mindset. And I was like, fuck you. Give me the chapters on how to do this. But after learning entrepreneurship for now a decade, it's freaking mindset, man, because it is hard. Burnout does happen, and you get, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. I hate this. I don't want to, And it's that willingness to be like, why am I doing this? I'm doing it because of this. Let's go. Let's keep going. Okay, push. And it's that gym mindset. Why am I at the gym again? It's 10 o'clock at night. Why am I here? or you wake up in the morning, I feel like shit. I don't want to move. I gotta go to the gym, lace up the shoes, go on the run. Like, it is that mindset. And it sucks. It sucks. But,
Yes, it does.
you
I
got to have that bigger picture of why you want to do it.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, but there's just some days where you just have to do the work. I think who was it? Kevin O'Leary actually said, just do 3 things. Just if you can do 3 things every single day, you're ahead of everybody else.
Just do one thing. Just go like, great. Send one email. Have a little win. And that's like, I'm a big proponent of like the little wins. But also just acknowledge yourself, validate yourself. Be like, look, I'm doing this. I'm even as simple as I'm chasing my dream. How many people are not even chasing their dream? Who are willing to sit in that 9 to 5, who are willing to sit at that desk, who are just like, oh, thank God I can at least work from home now. I don't have to go in the office. And like they've taken that win. But like, go, look, I want financial freedom. I want to do better for myself and for my family and for my loved ones. Like that you're willing to have that viewpoint and that actions and be like, great. Well, what if I just make an extra $1,000 for my family? What does that look like? Maybe it's not, I need to make $1 million. Like, okay, what is just making an extra $1,000 for an extra 5 hours a week?
Yeah.
That's a Saturday. How can you figure out how to make $200 an hour? It sounds like a lot of money, right? But that's not even. If you break it over 4 weeks, $50 an hour, which there are high-paid skills. You can literally figure out a high-paid skill that you can do that you can get $50 an hour for. Figure out how you can get some freelance work, and you work Saturday for 5 hours. Most people working 9 to 5 don't make $50 an hour. Right? And so like figure out a high paid skill that you can get $50 an hour for and get some freelance work that you make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 by working on the weekends. And for most people, an extra $1,000 to $2,000 could completely change their life. And yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of your Saturday or your Sunday to do that. Or that 5 to 9. Great. Take that 2 hours. If you did an hour, $50 an hour, 1 hour every night. Say, yeah, I'm not going to watch the show, but I'm going to make an extra $50. And that goes towards whatever, a better life for your kids. It could go to just a better vacation. You don't even need a better life for my kids or this or that. Say, hey, this goes to a vacation fund so that we can actually go to Europe or we can go to, have a party or whatever. Like life is meant to be enjoyed. I'm not saying, go do crazy, stupid things with it, but like whatever your goal it can be arbitrary. Like it's your life. Sorry, yeah, I'm on my soapbox.
No, it's all
you
good.
Get me into
it's
this. I go, okay, let's go.
I get. You know what? I'm all on board with that because I totally agree with everything you just said. With, you just got to have fun. I mean, even though this is fun, talking with you, picking your brain and all this stuff, it is fun. But there are just some days where it's like, I'm not even going to I'm not going to touch editing. I'm not going to look at copywriting. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to sit over there. I'm going to play NHL 25 and that's all I'm going to do all day.
And look, and give yourself the grace. But and one of the things I do to be able to do that is great, I need to hit this target between Monday and Friday. So Saturday I can fuck off. So Saturday I can just do whatever I need to.
Yeah.
And just hit the target, play the game. And this is where, again, I go, life is a game. And it's all the games that we make up. We can either make up stupid games or we can make up fun games. Great. I got to hit this target. And so I can do this. And then, and set deadlines for yourself. I'm a big fan of great, this needs to get done by this time. It is, what is that? It's not Murphy's Law. But it's things will take as long as we have time we allotted for them, whatever that law is. And so give yourself less time and then you go, great. I want to play, would you say NHL?
NHL 25.
NHL 25, you know.
I don't
But
do it
great,
often,
NHL
but
26 is coming out. That's going to be an extra $50, you know, $60,
yeah.
however much it is. Great. I need to do this amount of work. I need to close this amount of work, or I need to, and then, yeah, I'm going to go purchase that for myself.
Yeah.
Like, it's play the game. And that's the way that I've managed to avoid burnout. And I mean, look, but we all get it. We all get it. Take a walk, go take a day trip somewhere, but then get back to it. Don't let that take the step away for what it is as like a great, I'm gonna step away, and then we're gonna get back into it. Like my brother's wedding, I'm like, oh, because it wasn't me taking a step away, it was being pulled away. I'm like, oh, gotta get back in the groove. Whew. Compared to, you know, when like I went to New York a couple weeks ago for my birthday, I knew this was me. I'm like, great. I worked my ass off before, went for 5 days, came back, hit the ground running. You know, and so just really like keep the mindset of like, I'm not done. This is just a quick break, and then we're going to get back to it.
Cool. We're coming up close to the end of the show. And these are the 5 questions that I ask all my guests. I just want your perspective on these 5 questions. If you could go back to day 1 of your journey, what would you tell yourself before you got on camera or broke your first rule?
It's going to be a lot more work. It is never as easy as it is in your head. And what we just said, just do the work.
Cool. We touched up on this one just now. When motivation disappears and no one's watching, what keeps you showing up anyways?
I want to say discipline, but I don't have discipline. I suck at it. For me, it's personally just the bigger goal. It's what is the bigger game that I'm trying to go for? What is the life I want to live? What is the things I want to have? What's the life I want for me and my family?
Cool. What's the failure that punched you in the mouth but ended up building your backbone?
Probably, man, these are hard-hitting questions. This is a lot of me looking in the mirror right now. A lot of me looking in the mirror and being like, damn it, John. Probably the years I spent in college where I went home every weekend. I had the priorities in college. I prioritized family and relationships and not networking in college. I did not value the degree and importance of networking and building relationships nearly as much as I should have.
Cool. How has your idea of success changed, and what does it really mean to you now?
I mean, for me, it's the same. Give me the question again. Sorry,
Sure.
these deep questions. Man, you're hitting me Saturday morning, deep philosophical, emotional questions. I love it. No, I'm like, woo. Because I also want to give you real answers. I don't want to give you, surface level fluff.
Cool. How has your idea of success changed, and what does it really mean to you now?
Okay. Real success, in my opinion, is freedom. It's the ability to do what you want when you want. And there was, you could say younger, there was always like, I want to be a millionaire by 21. And and it was just surface level, what surface level freedom looks like. But the ability to have built something sustainably and to go, because I have a degree of that already, where it's like, it's a Tuesday, I can go play tennis with my wife, but I'm like, but then I'm working Saturday and Sunday. And I know that. And what true freedom, in my opinion, because it's also being an artist, is having built something that I love, I'm proud of, and it works without me. That's, in my opinion, what true freedom as a business owner really means.
Cool. Very good answer. Thank you for that. If this mic went dead right after this question, what final message would you want every creator or podcaster to hear?
Stay consistent. Just stay consistent. Don't stop. If you're at 500 episodes and you haven't got any traction, do 501, do 502, 503. The amount of times that I've shot myself in the foot by stopping that's my biggest regret.
Cool. Jake, thank you for this powerful shift in perspective, especially for creators who think content is just about posting consistently. You showed us that it's not about being louder. It's about being intentional, from storytelling to positioning to building systems that actually scale. This is how creators turn content into authority and authority into opportunity. All right, Rebels, remember this. Your voice has power. Every episode you record, every story you tell, every time you hit publish, you're not just making noise, you're making history. Don't wait for permission. Don't play small. The world needs your voice raw, real, and unapologetic. Keep creating, keep pushing boundaries, stay bold, stay sharp, and as always, long live the rebellion.